you are eating into my next question.
Okay.
So let me just go ahead and ask
Okay.
it. So having said all of this, should we ascribe, child neglect and abuse outrightly to bad parenting?
Not exactly bad parenting. It takes a village to raise a child, a whole village
That
to
was
raise
then,
a child. Yes, that's
that
what
was
we
then.
used to say.
What
So
about
we
now?
will talk about insufficient, maybe parenting, inadequate parenting, okay, or shortfall of parenting. Because it's easy when something goes wrong, for instance, in school, and that's why I'm careful not to just totally say totally a fault, of the parent.
Yes.
When things go wrong in school, they want to push it to the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, parents are falling short in their own responsibility, but when it goes wrong in school, there is the failure of duty of care that we must also trace. So, one, for the child who is a student or a pupil, parents must do their part. Parents must be up and about and doing well to their responsibility. Then the schools themselves, teachers, we need to also perhaps be more intentional in even recruitment of teachers. The role of a teacher is a God-given role.
It is.
That area that the parent is not even meeting up. Remember when we were growing up. Even when our parents are telling us something, we will say, "No, my teacher said," and our teachers were always right.
Yes.
So the teacher plays as importantly.
There were even cases where the child even gets, should I say, scared or respect the teacher?
Yes.
Much more.
No, absolutely.
Because they spend more time.
Absolutely.
With the teacher.
Absolutely. But we will still not run away from the fact that parents these days are given to microwave parenting. Parents are majoring in the minor and minoring in the major. They are majoring in the minor, like providing all the vacations, like all the snacks. You would even see parents tell you they are busy, they are not available for even holiday periods, and they'll send the kids abroad. They have no attention to pay. Okay, that's for those ones. Then you have parents who also will not empower a school you felt strong enough to put your child in, and yet you do not trust them to discipline your child.
That's another one.
Yes, I have interest in a school where I saw a mother come in for a PTA meeting, and I was presiding as chairman, and she said, "Nobody can discipline my child. I did not give you people my child to work."
Are you serious?
And the time had gone far. But what did I do? I asked, I say, "How much is the school fees that this woman paid?" Immediately, I brought out my personal checkbook, and I wrote, I said, "Give her money, take your child away."
You take a child to school and
if you trust a school enough to put your child there, then yes, discipline does not always have to be. In fact, it should not even be physical. It should not be beaten using the
not necessarily
whip. The children now, if you engage them properly with conversation,
yes,
do you know you can win over even a recalcitrant child by the conversation you have, by helping the child to just be a good storyteller. You can't be a parent and be lazy. You must be a good storyteller. Don't even make the child know that it is because of what he has done.
It's not for lazy people.
And that's why in those days we have Tales by Moonlight. More people now, there is a lot of space in the media.
Yes.
More people should look for ingenious ways to teach. But again, what have you inculcated? Because I'll tell you, my kids are undergraduates right now. But of course, they grew like every other child. What did I do? We made sure rules of engagement. Some things were stated. One, for instance, was there are channels you must not watch. Okay? There are channels you must not watch because you are not up to the age to have access to those channels on DSTV.
Right. Yes.
We didn't have to do PG, parental control.
No, have to do
if you have told them early and you are bringing them up in the right value from small. Now, when visitors come, even resident guests to the house, my son will tell the sister, after telling the parent, this is not allowed. You cannot watch African magic in the house. You cannot watch this. When the people refuse, because none of us are home at that point, what will my son do to his younger sister? He'll say, Uzezi, come, let's go upstairs to our room and watch something else. And they have grown with it that even when you say, I watch normal channels now, you find that they are taking time to, yes.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of work to be done, but parents must be up and about. Parenting is not microwave.
It's not. I agree with you. It takes me to my next question. Okay, and right now, like you had earlier emphasized, that parents need to work. You can't throw that fact away. They need to work and they need to provide for the home, for the family. There are bills to be paid, and these bills must be paid. So, who can they entrust these children? You also emphasized earlier that yes, even the domestic helps have gone to the extent of even being the abusers of these children many times. So who can they trust? Who can they entrust these children in their hands while they are away, while they are working? Or is it that they should like make it a form of duty that when the man is working, the wife, the mother is home, or when the wife is working, the father is home, or how should they go about this?
The reality of today is that parents cannot possibly have one working and the other at home, full-time housewife or full-time house husband. No. The reality of today's economy is that both will need to work.
Right.
Well, let me say that as much as lots have happened in schools, it is safer to have your child in school. Make sure that you close at what is it, 4 or 5 o'clock? That is the usual closing hours. Close. Have one of them should have a more liberal work schedule. Yes, one of them must have a more liberal work schedule. That means if the closing time is meant to be 4 or 5 p.m., that person must be able to close within that time. That's one. 2, I think despite all of the stuff that's been happening in school, a school is a safer place for the kids to be. Let me give you an example. Usually the kids are all together, isn't it, in a class?
Right.
It will take an extreme case of a pedophile, a real bad teacher, with the school not being attentive, supervisors and all, for such abuses to happen. But you have now kept your child with the nanny, with the house help, alone with the house help, where no eye can see. There is no fear that somebody can see me, door is locked. So the school where there are many people is still safer than that nanny. I say it out of experiences that I have seen. So, but again, it doesn't mean that the school, of course, we know that incidents occur. But if a school is well up to its responsibility, and I talk about the duty of care, then there will be genuine supervision. We have for instance, the story of the Chrisland school. What happened in Dubai and all that, where the Sescapades tapes were released. Now, the Chrisland people, the management will want to look good, come out smelling like rose. They can't come out smelling like rose because, one, they told us that the girls were in the 11th floor, the boys were in the 4th floor. Today, I listened to one of the Chrisland management staff coming to even tell us that the girl was caught how many times going to the wrong room that she shouldn't be in, and they sent her back.
Wow.
Okay, that's a story just emerging. So they will always want to manufacture new stories because, one, it's not believable for me. 2, the same person who had been doing that should ordinarily have now been given more supervision. That same person eventually, based on their claim, eventually went to the boys on the 4th floor, and this happened. Now, if we go by that, failure of the duty of care has occurred because you must supervise, you must ensure. You cannot tell me that they've been catching her and they've been catching her they be catching her.
Yes.
Then one of it, you got tired of catching her. You understand?
Exactly.
So failure of the duty of care. And we cannot run away from that.
For the fact that they were catching her, that was why they should have kept more eyes on her.
And as a matter of fact, at that point, you must hand over that, come and stay with your supervisor, who is a woman, in our own room, because something is wrong. So a lot of people have gone to talk about parenting in that case and attack the mother of the child. Yes, values from beginning, it's a problem.
Yes.
If the child is 10 years old too and has all the social media apps where she's engaged and doing things, it shows again that the parents have not done the real work they ought to have done from when she was small.
Exactly.
But it does not shift the onus of responsibility the moment the child is in the care of the school. So the real failure in this case is the failure of the duty of care by the school to prevent what occurred. And nobody can run away from that fact.
Exactly. What are the effects of abuse in children?
Yes, the effect is, for instance, we use the same unfortunate story of what's the name of the Chrisland school again. We use the unfortunate incident. What will be the effect on that child or those children? Unfortunately, a girl always bears the stigma. Nobody has shown the pictures of the boys. I've never seen it anywhere. But the girls' pictures and videos are being shared everywhere. So one of it is that the child gets stigmatized. I had to take time out on my social media handle to say nobody should post or share any of the pictures of the child, of the girl. And ditto for the boys. They are victims of failure of parenting and failure of the duty of care by the school. The 5 children or 6 children involved have been failed. They are victims. So it is not our role to actually help to stigmatize them any further. If anything, we are supposed to look at how to rehabilitate them.
Right.
So now the girl definitely is afraid to go anywhere outside the public.
Yes.
She has lost her self-esteem.
Exactly.
If anything, depression and anxiety are set in. Those are part of the symptoms of abuse, what you go through, the consequence. So, and it can lead to a child committing suicide. We've seen cases of children even committing suicide in Nigeria.
That's mental health.
Yes, mental health. Because, of course, depression must set in, anxiety will come. Even the siblings of that young girl are also in trouble, as it were now. And that is why we as parents, we as Nigerians, we as human beings must go beyond. I'm aghast that a girl whose YouTube social media handle was 4,000, the moment somebody exposed pictures of dance videos and all that, Nigerians, the girls' followership rose from 4,000 to 30,000. 26,000 perverts were all over the place wanting to go and like her page and follow her. They want to see perverts.
Wow.
I saw a man on television who looks like a grandfather and says he has kids and he has daughters, and the man was talking about capacity and capability of the child.
Oh my God.
Perverts everywhere. How can you even be able to see a video of a child pornography, a video of a Nigerian child that was exposed wrongly, and you can watch it all through? Okay. Not to talk of sharing and liking.
We can go on and on and on. How can we prevent all of this from happening?
Intentional parenting, school also taking responsibility, doing more of humanity than all of the FEZ and PR stunts that they do. You see a lot of the big schools, ultra-modern facilities, they do a lot of PR stunts, we are this, we are that, and parents are immediately swept over and they go and enroll their children. Exactly. You must look beyond the structures. Some of the kids that have done exploits in JAMB and in West African Examination Council exams, final year exams, are kids from Jikwe government schools, LEA, local schools. Yet we are just people given to, all those Ephesians, we call it in Nigeria.
Yes.
We must look beyond. Parents must know, if you do not have the time to pay attention to your children, please, especially those who are yet to have kids, do not bother. You have a responsibility you owe God. Do you know that even biblically, you cannot own a dog and not care for the dog? Is sinful. So how do you own
in talking prevention? Yes, my as we conclude, I was going to tell you counsel very, very quickly.
Yes.
I want you to give a word of counsel to both the parents and a child that is already in the midst of this such crisis, that is undergoing a kind of depression, very quickly right now.
Yes, parents must live up to their duties, the way I've emphasized schools living up to it. Then for children who have found themselves on the wrong end, for instance, the Chrisland kids, especially the girl at Chrisland.
Because that's what is trending.
Yes, especially she has been stigmatized by the exposure of the video. It is not too late. If the mother says she's 10 years, she's 10 years old, it means that she can still be redeemed.
Right.
So we need parents and all of us who are not even directly our parents, one, to stop sharing those videos and pictures. Two, to stop calling out both parents and daughter. And three, concentrate on seeing how we can also work on our children. But for the Chrisland girl, they need to get her psychosocial support. I trust the Lagos government. Lagos is a model state when it comes to issues like that. They will provide. But I also ask the parents, since they are people of means too, to please make efforts to get the best there is. And when I say the best there is, not people in their plum offices and all. Look at people's track record of how they've been able to help children who were in trouble. Okay? You can go to even the smallest part of Lagos. Is it Ikorodu? I say Ikorodu. Is it Ajegunle? You can go to those places to get, because it is in places like this you will get experienced psychosocial therapists who will help this child to begin to find herself again. Because this child is redeemable, but if we do not attend to her, we will have a lot of trouble coming. And studies have shown that a victim, because she's a victim of child sexual abuse, can grow up and begin to victimize others. Exactly. So we need to help her to get herself back in order to save society of the tragedy that can occur by not managing her well.
Thank you.
Thanks
for coming. Thank you for showing so much enlightenment, giving us so much enlightenment in today's program. Mr. Levy is a child and gender rights advocate. He's a journalist, he's a development communication consultant, he's a public speaker and an opinion influencer. Once again, thank you.
Thanks.
And our viewers, we appreciate you so much for being able to learn something from our topic of discussion today. Remember to like our page, subscribe to our channel. All our social media handles are on the screen. If you need to shoot us a mail, email address is also on the screen. We always like to get feedbacks from you. If you have stories, we always encourage you, if you have stories to share with us upon which you feel somebody could learn something positive, just like the way the way it had happened to you. Probably want someone to learn something positive from it, write to us so that we can share such stories that are in accordance to the kind of topics that we share on the program. So my name is Elizabeth Samsedi. We'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.